Good morning, Melee. Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in bright and early this Monday morning, and welcome to the 5 Days of Melee. I'm excited to be kicking things off. My name is Kevin Dhir, your host for the Good Morning Melee Show. Every morning, I'll be bringing you information about the 5 Days of Melee, letting you know our daily donation incentives for our partner charity, Direct Relief, presenting to you our schedule, and hosting a live interview with a special guest. The 5 Days of Melee is a community-driven initiative put together in under 3 weeks by an incredible group of tournament organizers, content creators, players, artists, broadcasters, and many other amazing folks. The goal is simple: 5 days straight of non-stop Melee content broadcast around the clock on Twitch. We're bringing you tons of brand new content while also taking some trips down memory lane to look back at some of the good old days. It's been a tough year for many, so let's end it on a good note and have a great time. Beyond creating an amazing experience, we're also using this as an opportunity to give back. Throughout the week, we'll be raising funds towards Direct Relief, a humanitarian aid organization that is currently working to provide PPE and financial support for healthcare workers across the United States and the globe. At any time, you can donate directly to their cause. Type !donate in the chat for more info on how to do so. They've provided over 46 million N95 masks and over $36 million in direct financial support to healthcare facilities across the United States since January. This incredible cause protects those who are working hard to protect us. On that note, please stay safe and avoid non-essential travel. If you do travel, please wear a mask. There's no better way to spend your next 5 days than chilling at home watching some good-ass Melee content. Alright, today we've got a couple donation incentives. All incentives are handled through Tiltify, so check out !donate for more info on how to donate. The first incentive allows donors to submit questions to be answered by the special guests on the 6-4 podcast, Mango, Leffen, and Zane. The second incentive is for tonight's game of Mafia. Donors can vote on whether or not you'd like to watch the game blindly, meaning we won't reveal the roles to the audience. Tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific time, we'll be having a Pros vs. Joes event. Donors can enter for a chance to play against Zane. In addition, we'll be running a poll allowing donators to decide how many stocks Zane starts with. Without further ado, let's run through today's schedule. On the first day of Melee, the community gave to you a tournament from the EU. Immediately following the morning show, we'll be broadcasting the Ludwig Agren Championship Series European Qualifiers. We've also got a hype game show featuring members of our community playing some fun and unique challenges. After that, we'll have a tournament organizers panel moderated by the Crimson Blur and featuring Aiden, Sheridan, Cone, and myself. Later in the day, we'll be having some exciting Melee show matches, some top-level PM show matches, an episode of the 6-4 podcast, a live tournament simulcast where we'll be broadcasting an ongoing tournament, personalities playing everyone's second favorite party game, Mafia, and we're ending the day off with a daily recurring segment called Grand Finals Throughout Time. The complete schedule, including times, can be viewed on our website. Alright, let's head over to the live broadcast with a special guest.
No break.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the live broadcast for the 5 Days of Melee. I'm here with not just one, but two special guests. Before I want to introduce them, I'm going to just say that the European Open Tournament today is not a part of the LACS, might be. Anyways, I'm excited to be joined by two-thirds of the Save Melee committee as my VIPs. So I'd like to introduce Mikey, aka TheCheat. He's on my top. This side? Yeah, this side. Mikey runs Smash Camp, one of the sickest Melee events out there. Beyond Smash Camp, you can find him commentating at events as well as behind the scenes, making some really cool YouTube content, such as the Save Melee podcast. He's also a member of the Ludwig Agren Extended Universe. So if anybody in chat happens to know this Ludwig guy, they know each other. The other person I've got joining me here today is Jackzilla. He's been involved with the Full Bloom series based out of Indiana. He's also been a really notable commentator at some of our most beloved majors, such as The Big House, RIP, and Shine, amongst others. More recently, he's also been involved in the Rishi's Jungle Jam meta, running their large events. So welcome, dudes. Happy to have you here.
Yeah.
Glad to be here. Really excited for the week. It's not often that you get to just spend a whole week sort of, enjoying Melee with the buds. So looking forward to it.
I saw a comment in chat that was like, the problem with 24-hour streams is you can't watch all of it. And I was like, that's such a beautiful thought. And it would be really unhealthy for you to watch all of it. So don't.
Some people will. Twitch's web might,
Twitch's web might. There's got to be
might
an
just be in the
archivist.
chat the whole time.
Yeah, I think we should actually have like some sort of award or some way to track who has watched the most of the event and then give that person an award at the end of it. Anyways, Mikey, I'd love if you could tell us a little bit more about Smash Camp, because we probably have a lot of people who are new to the community or just haven't heard of the event necessarily. So yeah, tell us about Smash Camp and what you do with that.
Yeah, I mean, Smash Camp is a canceled event, which is unfortunate, but
responsibly canceled. Full Bloom is also responsibly canceled event.
Battle of BC responsibly canceled this year.
Yeah. We were all looking forward to it. It was going to be on Halloween. We were going to have some nice costume contest sort of things going on. But yeah, it's it's a big old weekend where we go up and we stay at a 130-acre campground up in Prescott, Arizona, where it's nice and cool and not quite as hot as Phoenix. And we just kind of have it out. we stay in cabins all together, play some Melee, play some PM, which is great. Yeah, it's a good time. So yeah, I don't know. Come out to Smash Camp if/when it happens again. I mean, it'll happen again. It's just a matter of like.
It's really. I'll gas you up a little too, Mikey. I think Smash Camp is really like the platonic ideal Smash event. It really is. It's great competition, but it's I think the only Smash event that's literally an all-inclusive ticket. Like you get your meals done, you get your housing done, you pay this one price, and you come and you hang out with your friends and have a great time. It's really special. I think really the only problem is there's only so many slots and only so many Smash Camps.
Yeah. How many slots do you have? How many people attend Smash Camp generally? Or what were your plans for this year in terms of attendance and stuff?
We are bursting at the seams at 300. So, it's kind of unfortunate that we have to limit it to that. The past 2 times there has been a wait list, which is absolutely bonkers. And, that's one thing that we're kind of looking at is sort of, finding a different venue maybe that can accommodate more people. It's tough because this really is like one of the biggest campgrounds that we have at our disposal. There are always going to be complicating factors there when it comes to that sort of stuff. And then, the other big thing is kind of like, Smash Camp is really kind of like a 3-man show pretty much. We have a very limited staff. And so one of the huge things that's on our mind, as we sort of like look at the landscape of things is just making sure that our attendees are safe.
Right.
And so like, we don't have all that much reach, and if you've been to Smash Camp or if you've seen anything about Smash Camp, you know that it's a place where people kind of go and sort of like get drunk with their friends. So like, I think the next big thing for us and for the community at large really is to sort of think about how we go forward and keeping people in our community safe. So that's what we're looking at next for sure.
Yeah,
it's really, really important that TOs going forward think about these kind of things. So I appreciate that. Hey Jack, can you tell us a little bit more about what Rishi's Jungle Jam is for those who have maybe never played it or had the privilege of getting to watch it on Twitch?
Yeah, so I think. Man, it just started as I think a lot of what we're feeling this week is actually similar to the energy that we felt when Rishi came out. I mean, Rishi lives in this zone where he is both ironic and unironic. Like he means everything he says and then doesn't, and also does not mean what he's saying. And it's kind of just this zone that I think a lot of the Melee scene lives in, where it both is a serious esport where we all take it seriously, and it doesn't matter at all, and nothing is real, right? And Rishi's Jungle Jam is a perfect rule set. It fixes all the problems that we had in vanilla Melee, and it's being slowly adopted. A lot of the great movements in kind of the country and the world start off small, with people needing to experience it and see it in order to kind of realize that there's a better world out there for them. And Rishi's Jungle Jam is all about showing off that, Melee can be great, Melee can be better. And I think this week later is going to be played.
Jazz about implementing Rishi's Jungle Jam rule set into Slippy in a future iteration. I think that would be really
I think
crucial.
there is an RJJ scheduled event in this week. I hope I'm not blowing it up, but I think the schedule has all been released, and I think
definitely has.
Rishi himself and Zane are gonna kind of lead this bout into the future. It's good stuff.
Sweet. Just a 30-second TLDR of what that rule set actually is for Rishi's Jungle Jam. What's so special about it? What's different?
Yeah, that would have been helpful,
Melee?
huh? Yeah, it's 3 stocks, Congo Jungle only, Starman on very high, all other items turned off. Wobbling is banned, of course, and it's and that's all it is. And you play best of 5 every set, and you run tournaments.
Damn, that sounds really fun. So the two of you know each other prior to this interview, it seems like, through the Save Melee committee. So you guys are really doing the whole Save Melee, Save Smash movement before it was cool.
Yeah, we did it. It was a success.
You saved Melee. That's why your podcast doesn't air anymore. What was the deal with that? Tell me about your podcast. What prompted y'all to do a Save Melee podcast back then? What were you saving Melee from? What was the podcast all about?
It's kind of interesting because I was going back and watching our first episode that we did in the Shine 2018 hotel room with
the good one,
us and Chroma and Slime, and we were the main thing that we were concerned about was that people weren't watching or coming to tournaments because effectively Hungrybox was winning too many of them, which seems like such small potatoes to the stuff that we're talking about now, which I guess in retrospect is a very good thing.
Yeah, I think I've talked to Mikey about this, and partially we stopped just because it's just really hard to run this kind of thing and do the quality that you want. But also I knew that I wasn't going to be doing Full Bloom, and I didn't like being a pundit. But we also the show slowly drifted into we all care too much, and so we want to be funny men and talk funny things, but we also want to talk about safety in the Smash community and be good about that as well, and that's kind of where we landed at the end and kind of handed it off to other groups. But I'm not a believer that you should have a podcast if you aren't hosting a tournament or a top player or producing content. If you don't have skin in the game, don't talk about it too much.
That makes total sense. Both of you clearly have a lot of skin in the game, have been involved in community for some time, and one of the notable ways you've both been involved as commentators. And once we do see offline events return, and even with online events, commentary is a huge thing. How did y'all get into commentary, and any words of advice you have for aspiring commentators? Because one thing that's happening right now as people are being attracted to our community is they're looking for the roles they can get involved in. I think commentary is a really cool role that I see people get involved in our community as, and some of the most notable members of our community came up as commentators. Scar is my big example I can think of, Toph, et cetera. What advice do you have for these aspiring commentators and how they can get involved?
I think I would kind of almost extrapolate that to the general of people getting involved in Melee. We're both dot kids, right? And I think with metagame coming out, it's sort of been on a lot of people's minds what effect that will have on the community. And I think one of the things to know if you're if this is your first Melee thing that you're watching this week or something like that is that there is absolutely a place for you here. And it is not as far away as you think.
Yeah,
absolutely not. I think that was one of the really great things about the first documentary is that you see the community start off from literally being in people's basements, and you see kind of through the lens of wife, a commentator, how that grows to become something better and better. As we sort of go along, and then obviously you have this huge swell of people when Jack and I started coming into the game, and really there's nothing aside from like going to your local tournaments and getting involved and starting to get to know people. And, you know, like one thing I would say is to just like try to legitimately become part of your community before you start doing anything like that. Because first of all, it's going to be like a much more gratifying experience that way. Like it's going to be tied to something that you care a lot about. And also, I think it's just going to prepare you almost better than like any sort of like formal training could, or even having like kind of the sauce when it comes to commentary. Like I think what people want to hear the most is like enthusiasm about the community and people who know things about the community. So I think all you really have to do is just like go out there with the idea in mind that you want to be involved, and then like do it. Literally, I don't know, like Melee gave me my job. Like I wear so many hats in the community, and it's literally nothing aside from like just doing it. And I want to say that though with the caveat that like there's a lot of privilege associated with that, you know, like I'm a straight white man who is like 6'1". And so like part of the job that we have is like making sure that other people have access to this. It's kind of like Scar said, like anyone who has a problem with somebody who wants to play Melee has a problem with me. So that's the we get a $3,000 donation.
Wow.
What?
Anyway.
Damn.
Holy shit.
Huge shout outs to whoever just dropped that. Or it might be just the number catching up, but either way.
Yeah. I'll kind of add to what Mikey said and kind of zoom in specifically that I'm pretty against I think you shouldn't see yourself as a commentator first, probably for a long time when you're in the Melee scene. I got started player, trying to win locals, trying to beat the brakes off of people, especially in doubles. And then I saw that our recordings weren't good, so I got into streaming. Then we wanted to make a tournament, so I got into tournament organizing. And then, like, last on the ladder was becoming and doing commentary. And I think the thing that I would say that makes a good commentator and something that I realized that I wish I had, especially early on, and something that we all see in Scar, especially, or Slimer, a lot of the people we really love, is they have a point of view, right? They're not just there to watch and consume a sport and regurgitate their thoughts. They have something they want to say about Melee and the Melee scene, and they're going to make you hear it. And that makes it real. It makes it a person that exists and isn't just like, a video game commentator that has pre-recorded lines. So I think that those things are all kind of come together to make, you could do what you want in the Melee community, and that's one thing you could do.
Gotcha. So it's an avenue where you can, vest your persona and like, be yourself in the community, and allows you to make that kind of statement. That's really cool. Yeah, huge advice. Just jumping back to the comment earlier about the donation we just got. So if y'all didn't know, this week we are raising money for Direct Relief, a humanitarian aid organization that's been doing incredible work in the United States and around the globe with helping support healthcare workers during COVID. So COVID's been at the forefront of everybody's mind these past 9 months or whatnot. How has COVID impacted your guys' relationship with Melee and your involvement in the Melee community? And have you found new ways to be involved?
Mostly playing a lot more. I love being able to play Melee and, no offense to you guys, but not talk to anyone. going on Anther's ladder is kind of a cumbersome experience. So just like pushing a button is fantastic and amazing. And I don't know, that's just how it's been for me.
I've now perfected my cycle where I play League until I get mad at League, and then I play Melee until I get mad at Melee, and it's yeah.
That's me with Valorant.
I can't believe Slippy we have already like let it sink into our psyche and like our expectations about the world. We're already complaining about unranked Slippy. This shit is crazy. This like It is such an exponential leap in how good online play is. There are most fighting games ever have never had anything like this. It makes me crazy every once in a while. I'll just like casually be getting really mad at like Falco or something on net play, just to throw out a random example. And then I'll think, well, maybe I should be grateful because Slippy brought us this amazing experience.
Yeah, one of the first. Jack was one of the first people I actually played on Slippy, and Jack lives in Boston and I live in Phoenix, and
we could never play before, legitimately.
Yeah, it was cool that the world became like that small. Like cross continent net play tournaments were just not possible before this, and now they're kind of everywhere. Shout out Raid Shadow Legends. But also like that experience was like it's insane how technically good it is. That experience was like better than some net play connections I've had with Southern California. It's absolutely insane the jump in quality.
It's such like a relief. Like to me personally, I have a lot of friends in the Smash community who live really far away, and that's tough. You have time zone differences, and a lot of how we bond with each other is you talk while you're playing Melee, and it's like a relief off of. It feels like a weight is lifted when you find out, oh, I can play with Mikey. Like I don't have to wait till some big tournament and spend hundreds of dollars to travel to it to see my friend and like experience Melee with him.
It really did feel like the last barrier to like Melee ascending into the I mean, I'll plug my own shit here. I made a video called Why Melee is the Greatest Esport of All Time, and I think like Slippy
esport of all time, TheCheat.com on Twitter.
It out. I think Slippy like firmly cements it in that position. Like it just like blows Smash Ultimate out of the water. Like that was the main thing that I was like struggling to think about, before all this is like, why would somebody like pick Melee over Smash Ultimate? And now there are like legitimate reasons, especially given COVID, why I think somebody would do that. And that's not to like disparage Smash Ultimate or anything, but like I want people to play our game, like play Melee.
We're of the persuasion of like it's okay to be a little mean. It's okay, like it really is just a game. Like I know people get their kind of identities wrapped up in it, but like one of my favorite things was I think MDV or ESAM at one of these at one of the tournaments, and I just was chatting with them casually, and they like were shitting on Melee, and I thought that was the hype of shit. I was like, yes, I'm so happy to find someone that isn't playing Ultimate because like of some trumped up. They just legitimately don't like Melee and think it's the better game. But I think for a lot of people, when they really get into Melee, they like it more, and they just have to put in the effort, and that's kind of tough.
Sorry about that. My thing just totally dipped out. But yeah, really, really cool points. And I think everybody's Melee relationship, we do take Slippy. A lot of people take Slippy for granted. I mean, I definitely think that more can be said about how big of a deal Slippy is. I feel like I've been drunk a couple times these past couple months and just nerded out to people explaining how crazy rollback as a concept is. And the small team behind Slippy, which is primarily just Busy to my knowledge, and all his homies who help him out, managed to create this that AAA developers failed to do.
Fun story about this. At Full Bloom, we always tried to try new shit, especially with the stream. And we had heard about Slippy coming out with like a version of it that was localized to the console that could spit out statistics and different things more for the stream at that time. And like at the last minute, we added it to the tournament so that we could get 1 million sets recorded that we never could have recorded otherwise. And I just at that tournament when it was just limited to like helping out streamers do cool new graphics and statistics, I was like, this is going to change the game. None of us had any idea that it was going to add this online matchmaking component. It was already groundbreaking before it. We can talk all day about
Flippy just opens up an API into the game where we can just really get technical with the game, and it's amazing.
Cracking the code of like reading the game state is so insane. It opens up so many possibilities.
I'm really glad we're talking about this because like it is the baseline, like technology wise. Obviously, like the community is the baseline human wise, but technology wise, the base of having an event like 5 Days of Melee, being able to get already $3,000 drops and shit, like that is because of this work. That is because somebody gave a damn, got involved, said, I'm not just gonna do something for community, it's also gonna be good for me. I get to learn how to do a new skill. Like you get to really, really improve yourself through Melee because it's such a blank page. If you want to learn how to run a business, be a TO. If you want to learn how to talk in public speak, you do some commentary. If you want to learn about competition, really grind being a player.
Do it all, you know? Do all of it.
Wear every hat and more. Yeah, there are people up there who are doing triple threats, you know? People can do it all. Anyways, my dudes, time flies so fast when you're having good conversation, but we are at the end of this segment, so we're going to wrap it up. But I'm going to give you all one last question each. 3 words to describe Melee. What are the 3 words you use to describe Melee?
Best game ever.
Nice.
I don't know. It's fast. It's fun.
It's Pog.
It's Pog.
Nice.
Give me a 24 hours to workshop that. That was.
Thank you guys so much for joining me this morning. We got 5 days full of Melee content, and I'm really excited that we were able to open it up for you. I think we're going to be having a short ad break now before we head over to the EU Open tournament. So stay tuned for that. Some live, high-quality Melee gameplay coming all the way from Europe, and brought to you by Slippy. So
Let's go welfare states.
Sweet. Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining. I hope you enjoyed the Good Morning Melee show. And thanks for everyone in chat. Yeah. All right. Bye, everyone.